Hello class, I'm going to do a short overview of Module 3 assignment. This assignment is worth 125 points or 12.5% of your grade. I just want to add a disclaimer here, and that is this assignment, you had an assignment in NUR 312. This is not the same assignment, and please do not use any parts of that assignment or think you can kind of fit that assignment into this assignment. Your Turnitin score will come up very high, and it just is, this is a totally different assignment. So please do not try to use the same material. So this assignment, you are looking at a community or an area where you live, and you are assessing it for what type of complex care units are available in that area. And depending upon where you live, you might find many or you might find very few. So the first thing you're going to do is identify the community that you're looking at and then include the area, the population, and general demographics. Demographics are things such as race, education, possibly blue collar versus white collar workers, that type of information. What I suggest when you do this paper is you use APA headings and make 1 to 7 all your headings, and that way you know you're covering each required area. After you've identified what you're going to assess, and it's just like the nursing process, you identify an area and you look for assessment, what's in that area, then you're really going to focus in on the complex care units. So you can use an area, maybe if you work there, you can talk about the hospital, but remember it's a whole community, not just one hospital. You can use the internet, website's good, information from the Chamber of Commerce, wherever you can find information about what the community has to offer as far as critical care units. And critical care units include like ICU, CCU, NICU, PICU, burn units, trauma center, stroke center, anything like that, any specialty area. So you're doing an assessment of your area, what is available in that area, whether it's a city, a geographical area, and you're going to write information about what's available. Most small towns even have at least an emergency department or something like that that someone could go to. Then you're going to talk about the technology that's available at these units. So for example, I had lived in the past in a community called Kenosha, Wisconsin, and in that community there were 3 different hospitals, and they had ICUs and CCUs, but they didn't have burn units or stroke centers or that type of thing. In that case, I would have had to travel to about an hour away to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where all those types of complex care units were available. But in the Kenosha area, one of the hospitals had an ICU, and in that unit, they had doctors and video on call at all times. So every room was attached to a physician who could be contacted for questions about the patient. There were other technologies such as robotics, whatever you can find that's specific to your area or your different hospitals. Then you're going to talk about what's not available. So just as I said, in where I lived in the past, there were not the higher level ICUs, critical care areas. There was not a burn unit, stroke units, that type of thing, neuro intensive care. And that was about a 52-mile drive to get to that. It would either be by an ambulance, or if the person was critical, you would go by helicopter. So talk about what's not available and where you would have to go to get it. Then the barriers to access is what would be your barrier to getting to these specific complex care units are transportation, finances, language, what type of barrier would limit your access to these types of units. When you're talking about your own community, talk about how is the public made aware of these, what you have in your own community, and then how the access to these complex care areas. In this one, you might want to use the internet. You could think about the internet, TV ads, billboards. How is the public made aware? I think these days many hospitals and institutions are doing advertisement, so that would be a discussion about that. Then you're going to summarize your paper by discussing the overall availability of the facility and resources and describe both positive and negative. Your paper should be 3 to 5 pages in length, and that does not include the title and reference page. Please use references this time related to scholarly resources. So you might be looking at resources with complex care, resources about transportation, that type of thing. And make sure you're using APA format. So again, you're trying to meet all the criteria in the rubric. I always again suggest that you cover everything that's stated in the rubric, and that way you should be meeting all the criteria. It is a paper, and please submit it in a Word document, and let me know if you have any questions. And again, it is not the same paper that you wrote in your past class. This is a totally different paper. All right, that ends this discussion. If you have any questions, please let me know.